Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Acres, Achimotans, and all friends who are affiliated to this noble institution of ours. You're welcome once again to the Accra Back to School channel, and it's become a part of our genetic code to bring you very amazing conversations and shows that you may never have even thought about. Today, we are here at the residence of the former First Lady of this great country. We are here with Konadu, Agyeman, Rawlings to have a riveting conversation with her. So stick and stay and see all that we have for you today. Thank you so much for welcoming us into your home today.
Pleasure. This is not my home, it's my office.
It's your office actually.
But they think my home looks like this.
That's true. Thank you so much for having us and spending this afternoon with us. It's not every time that we get to talk to you, so we are glad to have you.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much. So we are here today to have a conversation with you, and primarily on your time in Achimota school. But then to give a little bit of perspective to it, we'd like to start a bit from where it all started for you. Let's see, from a little bit of your childhood, and then we'll come in, pivots in Achimota school and see all that happened with you over there, and a little bit after that as well. With your permission.
Yeah, you have to read my book.
Okay.
Nonetheless. Yeah, I grew up in, I was born in Cape Coast actually. Yeah, because my father was working with the UAC at the time. And it's an interesting story because he and his friend, Dr. Charlie Isman, wanted to do medicine. And when this one is first in Achimota school, this one will be second. When this one is first, this one will be second. But in those days, it was the government that would choose how many people do medicine or business or engineering or,
Wow.
So they sent all these results and who's doing what are here to the education ministry. And then they have interviews and they decide, no, you are an Ashanti, right? Business.
Wow.
You are a Ghana, you are this, that. So they kind of categorize them into ethnicity and vis-a-vis your career.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so they pushed my father into economics.
Wow.
When he seriously wanted to do medicine.
How did you do that?
He was very upset. He told us,
Wow.
I wasn't there, that he has never been more upset than that day since he was doing better than Charlie Isman, and yet he was put to go and do business. His father was a business person. So I guess they thought, let's push him into that area. Yeah. And all the way to our time, even as you could choose what you wanted to do, you still, would get the headmaster or the head of the upper sex or whatever directing. No, we think you cannot handle the science, you should go into this or the arts. No. They still manage that. Yeah. So my father was working with UAC at some point after working with the other lines, both British, of course. And then, so I was born in Cape Coast.
And that means that your father was in quite a good standing at the time.
Pretty much, but I think most Achimotans, or those who had gone to some of these schools, whether it's fancy or I don't know. If you did well, you get good training.
That's true.
If you had parents who believed in education, you definitely will go through and so on and so forth. So it was not just him. Because I'm talking about me, that's what I'm talking about him. Yeah. I'm sure there were a lot of other people who were also, yes, and engineered into certain careers as well. So I was born in Cape Coast. My brother was born in Cape Coast. I was born in Cape Coast. And then we moved to Takwa, which was a major thriving city. Not the Takradis and so on, Takwa, but that's where the money was.
Even at that time?
Yes, at that time, because of the mines and all that. And from there, UAC would throw you where they want to throw you. But usually they won't send you to where the majority of the ethnic group is from. They won't. No. So we never grew up in Ashanti region. No, we didn't.
Even though that's where you come from.
Even though that's where I come from. So for the longest time, I didn't speak to very good Ashanti. I spoke better Ghana.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was embarrassing because when I started my work as 31st person, I needed to go to the Akan areas. It was very difficult. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So I grew up in Ghana, all right, in different parts of Ghana, and I think my father's last stop was Eastern Region, where we had to be in Nkoko, and from Nkoko started the independence, the call for independence and free self-government now, and blah blah blah. So I don't know what actually happened that they said they selected certain people from the British companies to go and man the ministries. And my father happened to be one. So by the age of 5.5, before I was 6, that's when we got up.
That's amazing. And what ministry did he move into?
Ministry of Trade and Industries.
Okay,
Yeah, at that time it was combined. I don't know what it is now, but it was Trade and Industries. And because of his experience in trade.
Wow, that's quite amazing. So then that meant that from the early stage you had to travel a lot. You came from Cape Coast, went to the Eastern Congo, then finally you had landed in Accra again.
Mm-hmm. I have to admit that I only remember Takwa and Nkoko. The rest, no.
Not really.
No, I believe I must have been too young or
To remember those
yeah,
experiences.
and then to Accra definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. So does it mean you stayed in Accra all the way till you got into Achimota school?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! Wow. So how was entering Achimota school? Like how did you get to enter Achimota school?
By common entrance. Everybody had to do the common entrance.
Okay.
Yeah, you had to do your common entrance. I don't know if you mean what school did I go to before I went there.
Exactly.
Okay, my mother being a professional teacher, she only has to hear that this school is better than the one your children are in, and she's shifting all of us. Yeah, so you never have permanent friends, you know what I mean? So in Accra, I remember we've been to, there was Progress School, and then there was some other school, and then the Catholic school, and then Mrs. Sam's school, and then the Accra Newtown school, and then another school. Then she split us up, took some of them to the University Primary School because she heard it was a good school, and then took the rest of us to Ghana International School, which was also a good school. So from Ghana International School, I went to Achimota School.
Wow.
After 3 years or 4.
Interesting. So this is the point where we begin to enter your journey in Achimota school, because now you've entered from GIS, like
Yes.
you mentioned. But then one thing that catches my attention over here is your siblings and yourself had been put in many different schools. How were they managing
Oh, that's why.
everything?
Because my mother was a professional teacher,
Okay.
she just wanted to test which school was better than which one, I think. At least while I was in, I think I changed 3 or 4 schools before I went to the secondary school. And it's all because she felt and heard that this school is better than what you put your child in there. So then she shifts us without notice, and it was very, how do you say it? Just unbalanced us. What's the word? It's not the word. It's not unbalanced. Destabilized us because she herself would teach us in the house anyway. But you never had permanent friends. Yeah, you know, it's like you start here, you make some friends, and then she shifts you on block to another school, and then she hears of 2 different schools, and she's splitting us up. And no, it was not easy. I think we went to a lot of schools in Accra before we finally went to boarding schools.
That's serious. Because the reason I was asking that is how she was able to. You went to school close. I'm sure you're not in the boarding school at the time.
No.
In primary. So how she's going to pick this person up and pick that person up from school? That's
Some of the schools, even in those days, had school buses for children.
oh, okay.
And no adult was allowed to sit in except the school, the bus guy, the one who was driving, and the bus conductor.
Oh,
Yeah. The rest were students. So it was called the school bus or school children's bus. I can't remember anymore. And so I think it would come from different directions. So irrespective of which school you are in, you will get a bus.
oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And usually in the mornings, my father would drop us in the house, in the schools.
In the school.
Yeah. Or he would get his driver to take us. But if my mother could put us on the buses, she would.
She would do that.
Yes, if she can.
The everyday experience, so to speak.
I'm not sure if it was everyday experience. It was fun, but it was children being rascally. You know what I mean? Yeah, because we preferred to be on the bus.
Okay.
Because you could do things that you wouldn't dare do in my mother's
In
car.
the car, yes.
Mm-hmm. So, but as young people, she was strict, all right, but she would direct who goes with the bus and who doesn't go with the bus. And which term you don't go by bus. She would disorganize you if you think that you're going to go with the bus all the time. She would disorganize you. I think she played her game.
Of putting things together.
Yeah, because a lot of my my cousins came to live with us as well. Some of them were going to England or America or Canada or someplace like Germany. They would come and stay there and they would make their passports and stuff. I never understood why people were coming through like that, but it took some time to realize that they would come through, get all their papers done, and then shipped off to a school in the UK or Germany or something. But we were not allowed to go.
Because it's short. I was about to infer from what you were saying that then why didn't you leave? But you've actually answered that you're not allowed to.
No, my parents wanted us to be grounded here first. Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. So, time in Achimota school. So, where were some of your experiences when you stepped into Achimota school? What was happening in Achimota at the time?
My older sister was there.
Okay.
I had cousins there as well. But usually you don't get all the information when you are young. You hear of the nice things that they do, so of course you're looking forward to it. It's only when you get there that you realize that you're literally wearing an armored suit. Because I think the first thing that they do is, from the class that you go to, is they take you to the notice board and the I don't know whether it was the senior master or they will ask you to read what is on the notice board, and together. So you read it. If you malinga, home you go. Parking is easy, transport is free. And you turn on and tell you, and we mean it. So you are free to do the wrong thing. Because I mean, if I were sent home, I think I'll get the beating of my life in my father's house. Not by my father, but by my mother. They always play the good and bad cop. My father was always the good person. Yes. So you learn that very quickly and fall in line. Achimota had a lot of rules. The kind of rules that you can't bypass. And you knew that after swimming, you had just about 7 minutes to get to your house and have a bath and get ready because you're going for dinner. You know, they actually had everything worked out, which I'm sure it's still like that. Because when you have people's children on your hands, you cannot allow room for them to malinga, to use their own word. The neighbors enraged. Some of them had gone to Achimota school, so I thought, it's going to be easy to be there, but it wasn't. It wasn't because they make you know that the rule is what works. It's not knowing individuals who may be your family friends or cousins or no, it doesn't work that way. I don't know about now.
Interestingly, the current generation of Achimotans think the school is strict. So sometimes you are tempted to think, maybe in years past it was not so strict. But here you are telling us something very different.
It was very strict.
Very strict.
Very, very strict.
Wow.
To the extent that you might be in the classroom and the house mistress sees just a little piece of paper on your plot that you were supposed to have cleaned that morning. She will not pick it for you or wait for you to come back. She will come to your classroom and ask permission from your teacher.
Wow.
And tell the teacher in front of everybody that you haven't swept your area. Yes. And lead you back to the house.
Wow.
And you go there and it's just one tiny piece of food.
Wow.
You know, but I think it was part of the training, so we learned to be a little more diligent. You know. So.
And I think it's nice to speak to explain why Achimotans, in a way, like you said, end up being quite disciplined wherever they find themselves. Not necessarily everybody, because people grow up into other things.
Absolutely.
But then other people generally kind of toe the line.
I think so.
Awesome. We'd like to go deeper into the Achimotan experience. So we're trying to find out, were there any extracurricular activities you took part in? Were there any special things you did away from just academics, or was it mainly academics?
I hate to answer this question.
Okay.
Because Achimota believes in a lot of sports, a lot of other activities, you know, and if you're not gardening after school, after the rest hour, one hour of rest, if you're not doing gardening, you're in the arboretum, helping to plant the trees. All the big trees you see in Achimota Arboretum, we planted those ones.
Oh.
Probably some planted also others in the Achimota forest, you know,
Yes.
just before where they put the N1 road and all that. I hate to believe that as a people, we can actually cut down trees and build roads.
It's like terrible.
Because there are so many other places you can pass the roads on and or direct the roads that you don't have to destroy the ecology. We were taught not to. The main person who was in charge of the arboretum and other gardening activities was Miss Richardson, who was from, I believe, either New Zealand or Australia. And every class had a time of going to the arboretum. Every house also had a time of, you know, activity. So apart from sports, which was really with compulsion, you didn't have an option. One other thing was the environment that we needed to protect and help to improve on the environment. And then, of course, there were all the hobbies that one could join. So many hobbies, I can't even enumerate them. And other stuff, other things. But we had to work strictly to rules. I mean, they didn't joke with the rules. When we were there, I think there were only 2 black teachers. Yeah.
Wow.
There was Mr. Renner, who was then the boys' sports PE teacher. And then there was a Mr. He was an English teacher, but if you were not looking at him, you would think he was an Englishman. If you had turned your back and he's speaking, you would turn around thinking you're seeing a white English person. But it's that man. I've forgotten his name now. Later on, I think he went to work in the BBC. Yeah, and I didn't hear of him again. That was it. And with time, we had some Sri Lankan teachers, Indian teachers, and happy African teachers. Yeah.
So everybody was from outside the country, almost everybody.
Almost everybody.
It's because this was a time where Achimota had not trained enough teachers. Ghana had not trained enough, teachers.
Well, before my mother's time, Ghana was training teachers. But Achimota School was the governor's idea,
Yeah.
It was a government of the British Empire. It was their idea to have a co-educational school, because all the other schools that they had, most of them were either boys' schools or girls' schools. So I think they wanted to formulate this co-ed thing and see how it worked. I mean, my dad went to Achimota School. my dad met Nkrumah in Achimota school.
Wow.
Prime Minister Busia came to do his teaching course in Achimota school, etc., etc. So you see that indeed they believed in training, do they say, sending water to a thirsty land? What is it called?
Living water.
Living water to a thirsty land. That's literally what they were doing. So most people were trained to fill certain positions, yeah, or help to govern without quite being called so. Because it was still a British colony. But a lot of Achimotans were sent out to do their courses, like Dr. Isman I was talking about, and others were sent off to study medicine. My dad was sent to London School of Economics to do, and blah, 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 and others. So people were sent out to specialize and come back. And they always came back because we were on, I'll say British government scholarship, but money from Ghana, I'm sure. I'm not sure, but I suspect. And so when you finish, you didn't have a day to rest in wherever you are. They bring you back to come and help.
But I think that was quite a good thing.
It was.
It was a really good thing.
It really was.
Okay, so still staying on your Achimotan experiences, can you recall any memory from Achimota school that really stands out? Something you can't easily forget? It could be good, it could be bad.
Lots of things. One interesting experience was when I assumed that everybody could swim.
Okay.
Because I could swim. And so this boy, that guy called Rhino Jagge, he was, I think, in a class behind me. He was in D, we were in C. I'm not a Catholic, but when they don't have a full class for the Catholics, they add some. And so I was in C as well. And he came and pushed this girl into the pool.
Wow.
She was terrified of the water to begin with. And they were telling her she should be at the other side learning the toddler's way of swimming. And because she was my friend and she saw me jumping, she must have thought, oh, that must be easy. And then jumped in after me. And then I just saw her bubbling up and down and I thought, what's up with her? So I swam towards her to ask her, are you okay? And she pushed me down so she could breathe. I almost died.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I'm very asthmatic and so I panicked. Because she wouldn't let go.
Yes, because she needs you to
She needed to breathe and she just kept me under the water.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was much later that I realized that if you are not somebody who saves people in water, you never ever do that. You never try to save them. Call somebody who can. Because they will drown you. Yeah, they will drown you.
Use you for support.
And she almost did. And so Reinhold realized it and jumped in and held the lady from the back. And that's how she let go of my neck.
Wow.
Yeah. So I learned in a very difficult way not to try and save somebody who was drowning in water. That was one thing that I still remember. Yeah.
I'm sure you can't easily forget this.
No.
Because it was a terrifying experience.
It was.
Wow, that's quite an experience.
It was.
Achimota School has, like you rightly mentioned, a lot of things, from all the activities you mentioned, quite a lot. In your opinion, did that contribute significantly to all that you did later in life?
Could have been. But I think that I come from a home that a lot of activity was being done anyway. So Achimota was a plus, but it was not the number one in my life. You get what I'm coming from?
You had some training already?
Yes, I've had some level of training because I was a brownie before I went to Achimota school. I was a ranger. And so there were a number of things that I was doing which actually fell straight into the Achimotan system. And then I was a very serious sports person.
Oh, okay.
I was running for my school. I was doing high jump for my school. I was doing long jump for my school and relays.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I did a lot of horse riding and, you know, stuff
That's
that's,
lots of
you know,
activity.
my parents believed in that
Mm.
because they said to keep a child out of trouble, you've got to get them occupied.
Right.
So my mother, for example, would go hunting for a place where we go and learn how to sing. So today we have nothing to do and we think, we are free today. She said, I've got somebody going to teach you how to sing. So you're all going to Methodist, or, you know. So she believed in keeping a child occupied if you didn't want them to get into trouble, or him, you know. So we did a lot of activity, and it was good that I went to a place like Achimota, so it wasn't just like a continuous thing for me. There were one or two things that I was doing before I went to Achimota school, which I couldn't do in Achimota school: ballet dancing and gymnastics. And what else? Oh, Achimota taught me a number of things that I don't think I could ever have learned. One of them was how to be able to touch a pig.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the other animals.
The
as well.
animal, I mean the farm,
Yeah.
the school farm.
We had a school farm too. One in the on your way to the games. You know, when you're going towards the games.
It's field.
Yeah. And the other one you have to cross from the primary school, and you have the school farm there, where they had the other animals and crops. Because Achimota grew a lot of vegetables, turmeric, and a lot of things. And then I think they baked the bread and all that there in the school. A lot of things were done internally, I mean, within the confines of the school. So I had never looked after, in fact, I hadn't gone close to a pig before. So of course, when we asked to go and clean the place, and it was coming close to me, I just jumped over the fence.
The fence.
Yeah, and I landed with my face on rocks. Oh yeah, I remember so well. So, but it's something that you learn to accomplish.
That's true. That's true.
They don't say because you are afraid, oh, don't do it again. Oh, no. Achimota doesn't give you a chance.
That's true.
I don't know if they do now.
No. I think that culture has still stayed.
Yeah, because you're supposed to change the way you are, or improve on who you are, you know. So, working on the school farm, working in the arboretum, learning how to crack rock, because you what do they call it? Project. You're going for a project, go and break the rocks so that they can use them for something or other. So I think that there's so many things that you learn. Yeah, and it doesn't leave you.
Awesome.
It doesn't leave you.
In the last time I saw you in Achimota school, personally, which was actually the last time I saw you till now, was in 2017 when you came to Achimota school for the Founders Day ceremony.
Oh.
At that time, I was graduating from Achimota school.
Really?
Yes.
Very young.
So I was graduating from Achimota school in 2017, and then you came there for the Founders Day thereby and everything.
Yeah.
So looking back at your time in Achimota school and currently, I don't know when the last time was that you went to Achimota, but how do you think the school has evolved or changed in any way?
To be very honest, it's very difficult for me to give an analysis of how it was and how it is. Because even when we were in the school and the headmaster was refusing to accept the young pioneer system into the school, that we had a lot of associations and so on, they don't need another one. It was a battle between the Nkrumah government and Achimota school. And finally, I think either the headmaster resigned or they sacked him. I don't know, I can't remember that All I know is he left.
He left.
And when Mr. Chapman left, was he Dr. Chapman or Mr. Chapman? When he left, they brought in a headmaster who was pro CPP. And then they introduced the young pioneers and blah blah blah, the rest. So we did have teachers who were straight jacketed. They are here for the school and here for the country. They are training us as living water, as land. They are not training us for any particular party or some political group. No, it was not like that. It's just what is it called? Living water to a thirsty land. And Achimota believed in that. And I think based on that, the subjects that were taught were very critical. Yeah, very critical. And don't forget that years ago, you know, when we had there was like a teaching, it's a teaching section where they were training. I wasn't there, but before I got there.
Wow.
Where they were training teachers to teach in the other schools as well. A training, what do we call it? A training college. There was a training college attached to it, and people like Professor Buzia came from their schools to Achimota to do the training course. Yes, so it was a school that had many angles to it, and that's why I think they talk about, you know, living water to thirsty land.
That's quite fair. That's quite fair, because you can't necessarily say much in relation to now because you're not necessarily there at the moment. So it's a very fair assertion. Talking about your time in Achimota, maybe we're wrapping up very soon. There are currently students in Achimota school, because I'm interested in using that the Form 3s and Form 2 students are on vacation at the moment, which means that it's very much the case that they would see this interview before they go back to school. So I wanted to ask, what do you think you would tell this current generation of Achimota? How should they approach the school, so to speak?
Which students? Those who are coming in now?
Yes, both those who are coming in, those who are already in the school, basically anyone who will be going into Achimota school.
Well, if Achimota still stands on its laurels, it's clear that they are training people as living water to a thirsty land. Which area of the thirsty land can you fit into? Once you take a decision on that, you've got to work assiduously towards it. Because you cannot say that you want to be living water to a thirsty land when all you do is create problems and get punished every day, as some of the guys used to do, or some of the ladies as well. Oh yeah, there were very, very naughty ladies who were there.
Wow.
Some were even, you know, thrown out and all that. But as Achimota would tell you when you come, they'll tell you if you malinga, come and go. Parking is easy. Transport is free. They'll go and put you at your father's doorstep and wave goodbye to you. And that's it. You can't come back.
So it's been an amazing time with you. Thank you so much for allowing us to come to your office, like you rightly mentioned, and spending all this time with us, sharing your insights, sharing your story with us. I'm sure it's one that is going to inspire and inform Achimotans and Akres in a lot of ways that you probably even imagine. So thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Viewers, thank you so much for spending your time with us. This has been another very interesting episode on the Accra Back to School channel. Do subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you are following us on all our social media platforms. Make sure you are leaving your comments in the comment section as well. And so till when next we bring you another interesting conversation, it's bye for now.